It is so easy when you think about getting into your older years, your elder years, I like to say, to resist moving forward. We talked about last week how easy it is as children, young adults, that, yeah, we want life to keep moving. We're excited about it. We want to keep making changes and growing. And yet, when we get to a certain age, maybe our body starts to give us signals, or we're done working and we start to feel like, okay, well, I don't think I wanted to go past this point. And I was putting something up on Facebook one day, just asking people what they thought about that. And I was actually kind of gratefully surprised at how many people considered themselves to be entering their elder years or in the midst of them and still being excited about moving forward. Some of the things that they said, and I'm not kidding, it was like 90% of the people that responded. Maybe they're just all Unity people, I don't know. They're looking forward to hanging out with their grandkids and starting new hobbies. They talked about how important hope was in their life, that they had to have something to hope for. And if they did have a down day, they'd just turn on music and sing. Sing one of our songs that we do here at Unity on Sundays. There are those who are into curiosity, wanting to explore new things still or find a deeper meaning in their lives, just keep learning. Some of them talked about putting their life into service, giving more of themselves. And others were like less doing, but more being conscious of what they were grateful for in life and showing more kindness to other people. They talked about loving connections and deepening and strengthening those with other people. Folks talked about deepening their spiritual connection, where they really started to get clear on what Spirit was offering them from the inside out, trusting that they lived in a loving universe that would care for them throughout their life, and also just to be content in the moment, be present in the moment. Any of you taken up any of those habits in life? Yeah, good for you. And tonight, it's so darn dark outside. It feels like nighttime, but today, what I wanted to do today was talk about this season as a harvest of life. This is a chance where, we planted lots of seeds through the decades, and this is an opportunity for us to reap what we've sown in a positive way. So maybe you want to start to take stock of what you've created from your life, the good stuff, proud of your successes. This is a chance for you to look at what you're grateful for, have fun with your time. Most of us, when you get into the elder years, you have more time on your hands, so you can start to do things that you didn't have time for before. You're not tied down to the 8-to-5 job, or your kids have left the nest, so you're not in charge of them any longer. You're not in charge of them any longer. Maybe you get to choose where you want to live, where before you couldn't, or just spend more time with your loved ones. So I hope that as you move into your elder years, this is a chance for you to just notice how far you've come in life. And there's also an opportunity for elders to tap into that deeper instinct. It's a need for completion. If you're listening closely, there's a call within you to bring things together in your life, like a puzzle. Bring all the pieces of the puzzle together and look at how you've made it through. I call this is your opportunity. I'm on charge today, so hopefully oh wait. See how good I am at being in charge? Just 1 minute, please. There we go. Yeah. This is an opportunity for you to look at your gains and your losses and ask yourself what you've learned from them. I mean, have you enjoyed your accomplishments, but also have you grown through them? Have you learned how to be more of yourself as you've accomplished things? And when you've run into those challenges, have you learned from them? At least you made it through. Here you are. So look at those challenges and just see how they've benefited you in life, even though it may not have come out the way that you wanted. The mistakes, perhaps, that you made, to take a look at those and just ask yourself, what lessons have I learned from these? This is the time today where I'm going to invite you to take notes, because these are all good questions to ask, and you don't have to be an elder to ask them. You don't have to be an elder to ask them. it means that you have to be awake and assessing yourself on a regular basis, checking in with the wisdom that you've gained and maybe the relationships that you've taken time to heal, good for you, but just kind of running through your major life experiences and asking yourself, how have they contributed to my life? Or how have I measured up in my own mind? Got to be careful with that you're not too judgmental. I think of our beloved Queen Elizabeth. Okay, she's not our queen, but that woman, has been an icon for many in the world for 70 plus years. And she didn't have an option. Her life, the assessment of her life was happening all the time. In the news, in the movies, on stage, the government, the people of Great Britain, all assessing what she was doing, whether they liked it or not, whether they thought she should change. This is just good for you, Cindy. She's got my backup. So, when you just look at all these different aspects and times of her life, can you imagine? These were photographs that were taken by the press that stayed in amongst the world for her whole life to look back on. So she probably made a few mistakes, and I'm often wondering if she had the time to just assess that life of hers on her own without other people's opinions and find out, how did I do, and what could I have done differently, and what did I learn from these experiences? I just imagine her now having a whole new point of view in the spiritual dimension. I give her 3 cheers for the work that she's done. But it's not just about, her accomplishments. It's also values. And values are, next slide, Cindy, I'll let you, as you can see, I'm doing a great job here. Paying attention to what you value in life. When you're young, especially you're getting into young adult years, your youth and beauty is important to you. What you wear, what kind of clothes you have, what kind of place you live in, what kind of car you drive, maybe what kind of work you do, how much education you have, how much power you have. Those things are valuable to us in our youth, for the most part, not everyone. But after you've lived through many decades of your life, hopefully your values change a little bit. Do you know what they are? Have you taken the time to sit and ask yourself, what is most meaningful to me in my life that I give my time and attention to? Birthdays are a great time to do that. You don't have to, pay much attention to the number associated with the birthday, but more about, okay, this past year, where did I give my time to? What were my values in my life, and have they been serving me? Is it time to make a shift in my life? I'm guessing that Queen Elizabeth is having that chance to look back and review her life. But wouldn't it be cool if we did that now while we're still in the body and still have a chance to make some adjustments if our spirit is calling us to do that? I remember when, not long after 9/11, I had been working a job that required a lot of my hours, and it was a job that I just kind of fell into. I'd stepped out of something that I was trained to do and loved to do, but it just kind of gotten old for me, and then I fell into this new line of work, and it paid a lot of money, but it had no joy in it for me. And so I was giving all my time and energy to it, but not really reaping the rewards that mattered to me. And it was after 9/11 that I just thought, wow, I need to be much more mindful of where I'm giving my time and attention. And I left the job and gave myself some time off to try and figure out what was next. And that was when my higher self was able to get through and communicate a calling that I had had when I was 9 or 10 years old, which was ministry. It was my opportunity to go to seminary and know that I would spend the rest of my life, I think, who knows, spend the rest of my life doing what feels good to my heart and soul, which supports the things that I value in life. So take some time to do that. If you're moving into your your 50s and 60s, where do you think those midlife crises come from? You know, it's that part of ourself that says, hey, let's take a look-see what we're doing with our time here. And we're also not just looking at values, we're also looking at our beliefs. They're a little bit different. So much of our belief system was formed when we were young, and our parents contributed to those belief systems. And they could very well still be influencing you today. But have you checked in to even recognize what those beliefs are? And ask yourself if you still believe that way? It's really easy for, people that you admire to take control of your thinking and point you in a certain direction. I remember probably in high school, I had a new boyfriend, and I was sitting at the dinner table one night, and I just started spouting off everything that he'd been telling me about something that I knew nothing about. And so I wanted to tell everybody, my family, about this. And I would say, and he says this, and he says that, and my dad says, he says, he thinks, what do you say? What do you think? And I was like, you mean I have to have my own thoughts? I have to have my own beliefs? They might be different than his? Well, of course we might agree in our belief system. That's very normal. But just don't get caught up in someone else's system and find you're doing things, you're saying things, you're creating things with your beliefs that really aren't serving you. So ask yourself, am I rowing my own boat gently down the stream? Or have I turned my oars over to someone else and they're taking me up a different stream where I don't want to go? Or let me ask you this, are you rowing someone else's boat? Have you taken it upon yourself to turn someone in your direction? Parents are good at that. And they should be at an early age, but at some point, we need to know when it's time to turn the oars over. They're old enough now to start rowing their own boat and making their own choices and having their own beliefs. So, our family, our culture, there's all kinds of things that can influence us. Be mindful of what you believe and how it is either supporting or denying your opportunity to live the full life that you came here to live. We're on a spiral path. It's so cool that you chose that song today, which means we continue to go upward. We might keep swinging back around on some of the same topics, but hopefully we're continually rising upward in thought. So just keep checking in with yourself about your beliefs. And you'll find that one of the main things is we can't really row someone else's boat until we are clear on who we are. That's probably the question of the universe. Who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? And what I really want to point at in this question is, what comes naturally to you in your way of being? I'm not even talking so much about careers or even hobbies as much as a way of being. Having had my husband of 10 years come out and tell me that he was gay, turned my life upside down for a while, but it actually, dumped me out of his boat and put me in my own boat. And when I think about the courage that it takes for someone in the gay community to stand in who they really are, it's become slightly easier at this point in my life experience, but we've still got a long ways to go when it comes to society allowing people to be who they are. I started watching a Korean television show about an autistic attorney. It's adorable, and it's so educational. And there's a lot of subtitles that you're reading really, really fast, really fast. But it just breaks my heart to think about what a person with autism has to go through to be themselves and be accepted and be allowed to live the life that they're here to live. So what are you doing with your true nature? Are you allowing your own characteristics to come forth and be comfortable in yourself? Are you comfortable with your uniqueness? Because every single person on this planet is unique. What am I holding down, putting off being because I don't think I'll fit in. I'm wearing that mask to make sure that I look like everybody else. What is it that you are here to be? You know, it was when I was in seminary and we were all just passionate about becoming ministers that we started examining other ministers who were successful because we decided that's who we must be like. So, of course, you know, T.D. Jakes and Joel Osteen were big on the world stage, and we, of course, wanted 30,000 people in our congregations as well. So that's who we focused on, but the truth is, I kind of nailed down what his style was, and I thought, well, that must be what people like. But try as I could not do a Joel Osteen on Sunday morning. I am sorry. And then I realized that's because I didn't come here to be Joel Osteen. I came here to be Kitty and be my own unique self, whatever that might look like. And there's going to be some of you that relate to that. And the others, you know, he's probably on channel 2, 6, 11, and 22. I'm sure you'll find someone that you can relate to. I can only offer what comes naturally to me, and this is it. And if it resonates with you, great. And I ask you to think about doing that for yourself, to go out into your world and be yourself and let people who resonate with you resonate and let the rest move on and find their own friends. But you're perfect, whoever you are. So get comfortable even in your elder years with your own unique self. And sometimes that means that you have to prune people or behaviors from your life. I mean, this is really a time in your elder years to let parts of your life go, die, change. And that includes disengaging from the people in your life that are weighing you down or, you know, focusing on changing you or fixing you. It might mean that you're stepping away from those needy, draining people who never change, they never grow, they just keep sapping you dry, or they're trying to control your behavior, or they're just grumpy whiners. Yeah, so how is that serving your growth to be in that kind of energy? How is it serving your growth to focus all of your attention and your needs and desires on the material world? Like I said, that's kind of natural for 20s and 30-year-olds to move into the acquisition mode. You get your new salary, get your new place to live on your own, you start having to fill it up, couches and TVs and things like that. I get that. But at some point, are they weighing you down? We have a charity that contacts my housemates and I. We get an email from them pretty regularly, every few months, that says, we're coming in your neighborhood to take, you know, what you're trying to get rid of. And wow, you should have seen this last time around. It just felt so good to go through stuff and pile it up and put it in bags and set it out to give away. I just feel more and more free. I just feel that need to pare it down. And most importantly, when we talk about pruning, we're talking about examining those subconscious beliefs that are not serving us. It's very common for us to have that judgmental voice in the back of our mind constantly criticizing either ourselves or someone else, or demanding perfectionism, or wanting to please others, do things perfectly, need to prove ourselves to others. All of that, all of those beliefs about ourselves could be pruned away if we are willing to figure out what they are, and then shift our consciousness to realize who we really are as spiritual beings. And at this point, this is where you really need to depend on your higher self for this. Your higher self is the one who knows who you should be. Your higher self, okay, think of that as your spirit that will live eternally. Think of it as the Christ spirit in you, God expressing uniquely as you. And that part of yourself is very clear on why you came here. It's the one that chose to come here. It knows what the path is. It knows where that spiral path is meant to lead you. And it's the one that's constantly trying to communicate it. So at some point, midlife and later, it starts knocking on that door pretty loudly. your heart feels that need to listen more closely to why you're here, how you can fulfill your purpose for being. And it's your higher self that wants to point out the true meaning of life and guide you towards resolving those unresolved conflicts. It's going to guide you into dealing with the pain that you've been carrying around your whole life. We're not meant to feel pain at an early age for some horrific experience that we had, usually with another human being, and then carry that through our life till we die. We're not meant to do that. We might have been meant to bump into that and to feel that and to wonder about that and to work our way through it, but we're meant to come out the other side. Don't wait till after you die to say, oh, okay, I guess I could have had a little easier on myself. What's your higher self trying to, it's that knock, knock, knock. I stand at the door and knock. Will you open it up and let me in? And at this point, when you hear that knocking, that actually means that we might have to take on a new point of view about our entire life and about who we are. Look at life through new eyes. It's when you devoted decades of your life to educating yourself in a certain way, or honing a skill, honing a profession, or climbing the ladder, or acquiring the wealth, or just taking care of your children, or providing funds for other people's lives. That builds a persona in you that gets pretty staid. And it's not always easy when you get into those elder years to be able to become something different, to be able to look at yourself differently or try on a new persona. You've deepened some habits there. So with your higher self calling you into this new growth, this is where you want to be listening to what is most important before you finish here, and being willing, using your spirit of will to try on new divine qualities. I remember being on a dating app, when did they first come out? Somewhere around that time. And it was like whatever you wrote in your description of yourself was critical. So I remember writing this, and I had probably said it before because I think you reminded me of it, Don, I was focused on spirituality in my description of myself. And I said, do you really want to get to the end of your life and say, gosh, honey, we sure did play some great tennis, didn't we? And that part of myself was trying to come through, but I didn't always let it. So this is about shifting away from the old you into that part of yourself that lets your higher self shine. And it's kind of talking about getting out a new wineskin. There's a scripture, let me show you, from Matthew. Jesus is saying, don't put new wine into old wineskins. You know why? Do you know why the wineskin bursts if you put new wine into old wineskins? It's because when the new wine starts to ferment, it puts out gases, and the gases cause a swelling, and because the old wineskin has been around so long, it's gotten thin and brittle, and it busts open. So your old consciousness is like that old wineskin. It's been around for a while, it's been used a lot, and it's kind of on the edge of brittle. If you're talking about moving into a stage in your life where you're open to your higher self, that means putting on a new wineskin, opening yourself to a new idea of who you are. This is where you really want to focus on your spiritual life. Let me just move forward here. There we go. I have to say that this is something where anybody who walks in these doors, 50 and older, I got to give you big props. Because my hunch is you weren't born in a Unity church. Anybody here born going to a Unity church? Look at you. Just look at you. Look at how many of you had the courage to put on a new wineskin and make way for some new wine to come in. Good job. Because anyone that's born in America, for the most part, the largest majority of people, were born into Protestantism or Catholicism. And here we are. I won't even go into all that we are as Unity. but it's different, and it does require some changes in consciousness. So bravo that you are willing at any age, really, to take this on and allow yourself to think differently. And I'm guessing that you're here because you're more interested in your spiritual life, and you want to find a way to let that spiritual life affect your human experience. And I hope that that is what's happening for you. This is a good time to just keep checking in with yourself and saying, what do I believe about God? Even, it's fun to listen to what Unity's thoughts are about the nature of God, but you've got your own mind and heart to figure that out too. It doesn't have to match exactly. That's one of the ways we're a little bit different, is that we honor all paths to God. We just happen to follow one that listens to Jesus' teachings and recognizes omnipresence of God as in all things, all beings. So what do you believe about God? And who even influenced your beliefs about God in the first place? Are they even still alive? Did it serve them? Is it serving you? My parents' generation came out of the Protestant religions, and it served them very well. It was part of their life. It was a major part of their life. Their whole relationships, friendships, all came out of their church. So they lived 80s and 90s being part of that same church, and it served them well. By the age of 20, I was out of there. And then by the age of 27, I was out of my next one. And then I was there, in the next 5 to 10 years, I was just kind of looking. And then I landed in Unity. So are you taking your time to really think about what is it about God that I believe, and how does that play out in my life, despite what other people might say about your beliefs, whether it's right or wrong? Don't forget to ask about yourself. What am I? Do I have a soul? What's the nature of my soul? How can I let my soul live out in this life experience, in these elder years, in a way that I haven't so far? All of that is going to be guided. Every question that we put up here today is going to be guided by your higher self if you learn how to recognize the voice of spirit. So we're back to spending time in the quiet. We're back to giving yourself at least 15 minutes a day to just sit quietly, and if you can't figure out any other way to meditate, just focus on your breath, just stilling your thoughts until the busyness of your mind starts to quiet down in general, and you're able to hear that push from your heart. And give yourself some time to think about, what is the nature of my higher self? That part of me that loves me unconditionally, that part of me that has all the answers that I'm seeking. It's that part of me that's creative when I need to be, and accepting, and showing me how to be accepting. It's all here within me. Think of your higher self as the one who lived to 120 years old, and it's already got the view of the whole thing. I kind of think that's the way the higher self comes into this body, is having the bigger picture, knowing the best steps and choices to make, and then trying to inform the human self. And it's always waiting to share that information. It's just that we have to be able to listen, and once you get into that time in meditation of recognizing its presence and its love and its creativity and its wisdom, then just start asking your questions. So here's what we've talked about today. I'll turn this way. What have my successes and failures shown me? What are my values? What are my beliefs? Who am I? Why am I here? What in my life needs pruning? Where's my higher self leading me? How am I living a spiritual life? How is this spiritual life affecting me? So what I'd like to do in meditation is I'm going to walk you through a visualization of connecting with your higher self. And one of the ways that you might want to do this is you'll be at some point guided to walk a path and count from your current age number, whatever that is, up to 120, where your higher self has already lived it all and knows it all and sees it all and is waiting to share it with you. And we're not going to have time to count up to whatever your number is for everyone today. So I'll move us along in the meditation before you may get to 120. But just know that when you do this one on your own, that's the goal, okay? So let's take some time to just get comfy in our seat. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Even allow your shoulders to relax a bit. Let the stress or tension of the body start to relax. Just imagine yourself in a beautiful place in nature. The temperature is perfect. The weather is kind. Beautiful colors and sounds around you. There's an easy walking path laid out in front of your feet. And as you're walking along this path, you see along the way a small cottage that's waiting for you at the end of the path. And so for the next few moments as you walk in that direction, you know that waiting there for you is your higher self, your realized self, the part of you that is whole and perfect, always there to support you. So just notice what your age number is and silently count your way as you take steps towards that cottage until you reach 120. You find yourself at the door of this cottage. And as you open it and walk in, there is your beloved higher self, looking at you with eyes of compassion. Receiving their assurance of what a great job you're doing. You realize that the being that you're facing is the highest and best of your own potential. The power and the wisdom of this being is your power and your wisdom. In this moment, it's being offered to you freely. You feel the presence of that unconditional love reminding you what a wonderful, beautiful being you are. And as you're facing this beautiful higher self, just ask yourself for a word of guidance for the point you are in your life. What do I need to know or do right now? As you receive this guidance, you have a calm knowing in your heart. I am able. All things are possible. For with God, all things are possible. And I am one with God. Now ask your higher self for a blessing, words of goodness or encouragement that it may wish you to know. And just listen and take that in. Allow a feeling of gratitude to pour from your head to your heart, where that cottage resides and is always waiting for you whenever you need. Allow yourself, for the moment, to take your leave of this communion. Trusting that at the next question, in the face of the next concern, this connection is always available, guiding you on your next step. As you turn away from the presence within, you turn your thoughts to the outward experience, the room that you're in, the people that may be nearby. Taking a deep breath of gratitude. Every moment is that divine moment to reveal my highest potential, my highest self. And I say yes. Thank you, God. Amen.